Might be a little bit pricey for what you get here, so sample it for sure, but I find this an absolute darling. I think it's going to be my scent of the day today, so I'm going to put it on actually. Peace be with you everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Trevor, very grateful to have you here, and today's video is going to be just an assembly of fragrances that feature the note of honey. The honey is one of my favorite notes during this time of the year. We're in, I think, mid-September at the moment, but from now all the way up until the end of the holiday season, this is a note that really drives it home for me. It's got a certain degree of sweetness, but it's kind of grown up because it's not exactly bubblegummy or youthful or gourmand, heavy on vanilla or chocolatey kind of nuances. Honey, you know, it has its own type of sweetness. There's really no way to explain it other than to taste it. And these, I think, do a good job of giving you a taste of honey in the scent world. And so I've got 5 designers and 5 niche, and I'm just going to start off with the designers in no particular order. This one right here seems to be getting a little bit harder to find. I think you can still find it at a good price at Fragrance Net. This is Roberto Cavalli Uomo. So this is really nice powdery violet tonka bean honey. Those are going to be really the main 3 notes here. It's got a very velvety texture and is great for the fall, winter, and even the springtime, I would say, because the violet in here has a very almost not quite watery, but a very refreshing element to this that makes it play well in like rainy day environments. But it's also a nice sort of dressed up smooth fragrance with the honey in here for something like a black tie event. So that's Roberto Cavalli Uomo. Next, this one's a little bit old school. This is Bijan Men. So honey is a main factor in this. It does give it a certain sweetness that's a little bit more grown up. The overall scent profile is also very mature and kind of old school. There's a heavy clove note in here, which is also one of my favorite notes for the whole harvest season up through the holiday season. It's very potent, very loud, but like I said, it is very kind of old school. This is supposed to be a ring, like a finger ring with like a large gemstone on the top. It used to be really popular. I think it won an award in its day. I think this is a really fine fragrance, and you usually find it for under $20. I think this one plays a little bit better in the winter than the autumn though. Okay, next designer. This one is very lovely, both the EDT and the EDP, but I'm going to feature the EDP because the EDT is more of a springtime fragrance for me. This is Cartier's L'Envol. So this is a really nice floral honey. This is so realistic of like a honey nectar floral pollen kind of, and not really pollen, but it just has like a very silky smooth, almost watery, I think violet is in here as well, if memory serves correct, that it just is, first of all, just like mouth-wateringly tasty. It feels like almost like watered down honey, almost like something that like a hummingbird would drink. And that being said, I did wear this out to a campground one time, and I had a bunch of insects just like all over me. Not like mosquitoes or like insects that would be on me normally, but just like weird things that I've almost like never seen before, like flying ants and ladybugs or beetles of different varieties. So this really photorealistic, nice floral honey fragrance. Definitely check this one out. I think it goes for, I think this is a 75 ml. You usually find these for like $50. I think that's what I paid for mine. But really high quality offering from Cartier. Okay, next, I think this one's also been recently discontinued. Kind of a honorable cheapie. It's been with the community for a long time. This is Animale, not to be confused with Animale, which is the one-line Animale, but Animale. So I really like this one. You know, getting into that spooky season, it's got this little like Wolverine claw tear, almost like a lightning bolt too, but this has a very nice silky smooth kind of honey. It does remind you of like the base of a lot of the old Mugler Men fragrances. I think you can still find this for a halfway affordable price on like fragrancebuy.ca right now, the last time I looked. But again, like it's almost like a very nice caramel honey, just good masculine gourmand that like pushes the envelope of sweetness, but is not quite the way that the youthful bubblegummy style of the modern fragrances is going. Okay, so have I covered all? Okay, one more designer. This one also discontinued, but I think you can still pick it up at Macy's for full retail, but it's drying up the discounters. This is 1 Million Lucky. It's a 200 ml bottle, but this is like a very nice, airy, ozonic, fluffy, cloud-like plum honey, but it's a nutty fragrance, a very nice, airy, nutty fragrance with plum and honey that sweeten it up in a very unique way. There's some really nice light florals in here as well. Just, it's almost borderline feminine, but not. It's I wouldn't even say it's unisex. It's just like a very metro masculine fragrance, but it's done so well, and I just love how light the sweetness is in here. Nice, nutty, fruity, airy, light, fluffy, cloudy fragrance. This is 1 Million Lucky. Definitely get this one. I think the 100 mLs are still like $115 or so full retail. I think it's worth that price. It's a very good execution, high compliment getter, and one perfect for the autumn time, and a prominent note of honey. Okay, so that gets us through the designers. So I've got 5 niche here as well. I'm just going to start off with perhaps the most underrated one in the list here. This is Whispered Myths from Imaginary Authors. This is cantaloupe, oud, and driftwood. Really unique combination of notes, very delectable. And I think something that now that the Middle Eastern market is getting more imbued into the olfactory atmosphere, this is going to be a little bit more palatable than it used to be, because the oud in here is very barnyardy, but that cantaloupe in there gives like a certain really nice roundedness to the savory elements of, like, it gives like a savory element to the otherwise sour oud wood, I would say. And then honey also sweetens this up very uniquely, and I have had women tell me that I smell delicious when I was been wearing this. I've also had people tell me I smell a little funky. I will say when I got called delicious, it was in the winter time, and then the funky was in the springtime. So I think this shines a lot brighter in dry environments and is gonna get a little bit cloying in something that's a little bit more higher moisture. So definitely check this one out. I think they're usually like $95 for these 50 mLs from Imaginary Authors, and if you find a coupon code, they bring it down to like 85. So Whispered Myths from Imaginary Authors, another great honey fragrance. For me, personal taste, definitely sample it, because I think they do sell samples. It's like I said, barnyard oud might not be for everyone. Next niche here, one of my favorites for this time of the year. This is Jubilation 25 from Amouage. I think you can usually find these for like $180, I want to say. Might be a little bit pricey for what you get here, so sample it for sure, but I find this an absolute darling. I think it's going to be my scent of the day today, so I'm going to put it on actually for probably September all the way up through the end of December, I want to say, maybe even mid-December. This is just a very nice, light, easy to wear, fresh, joyful, jubilant fragrance. It's just got a very nice, I think, blackberry note in here, honey. Reminds me of a very well laid out charcuterie board for the holiday season. You've just got some savory elements like the nuts and crackers and cheese, and then the fruity hand fruits like grapes and raisins, things like that. Those aren't in here, but like the blackberry in here gives an accent to that. Honey as like a side dipping sauce or something of that nature, a very prominent note, the honey in here. The juice color is very telling of how this smells, and it just has a certain sense of that warm sunshine that's like coming in through the window on an autumn day, that's like accenting and like enlivening the autumn leaf colors outside. This is Jubilation 25. Definitely check this one out, but sample it first. Okay, next we've got another kind of hype beast. I think this is a recent one to my collection. I think it's fine. It's a little bit, most of the fragrances I've tried from this house I find a little bit boring. This one is my favorite though, because it starts off kind of sweet, which I've critiqued the others from the house for, but then it blossoms into something very beautiful and aromatic, and the honey is also something that plays into that by being a sweet factor that isn't bubblegum or youthful, and that is Naxos from Xerjoff. So the thing I love about this is the lavender in here. Like I said, it blossoms into something very aromatic and almost like a green type of lavender to some degree. It's very powdery, People compare this to Pure Havane, Rayanne Tradition 2, so those are some, Rayanne Tradition 2 might be something to look at if you want to get this scent profile on a budget. I think I've found this for like $160 online as a tester. Wait around for like some of those deals that they have, like Black Friday and whatnot. If you're interested in this, check it out, sample it. But yeah, beautiful honey and lavender is really like the main things that I get in here. A powdery honey lavender that gets very aromatic the more that the wearing experience goes on. So just a beautiful one, and like I said, definitely one you want to grab if you're just interested in mass appealing, easy to wear, compliment getting, pleasant fragrances. This is Naxos from Xerjoff. Also, like I said, honey, great honey fragrance. Okay, next one is kind of an affordable niche, especially if you get a 50 ml. They're only like $75 or so, I think. So this would probably be my top pick for getting out of this list, just in terms of the price to value ratio. And this is Serge Lutens Chergui. Again, probably one you might want to sample. It does have a certain like melancholic appeal to it. It's like a very artistic fragrance, but it is mass appealing in my experience. I've gotten compliments and good attention from this. Main players though are tobacco, hay, and honey. The hay gives a very unique textural straw-like feel, and then the honey and tobacco, again, a certain type of sweetness from both of those notes that's not exactly bubblegum or gourmand. A little bit dry as well, because of the hay, but also like the tobacco in here is very wet. And then there's iris. Iris is also like one of the main key players in here, so you get that kind of beautiful Dior Homme, Givenchy sort of iris that's like adding this powdery element over the top of this bittersweet, I would say, tobacco and honey. Beautiful, beautiful offering from Serge Lutens. Definitely check this one out if you also love the note of honey. Okay, and I think we're down to the final fragrance here. This is going to be Sartorial from Penhaligon's. So this has honey and beeswax over the top of a classic barbershop fougere, and then they also add in a little bit of a metallic steam accord, almost like something you would get in H24 from Hermes. This was made to replicate the scent profile of a classical tailor's shop. So you definitely get like a little bit of that metallic steam in terms of almost just like an overlay of texture, and then a nice also waxy texture from the beeswax, a nice honey sweetness, and then a beautiful lavender barbershop. These two kind of remind me of one another to some degree, except this one's more of a playful scent and this is more of like a grown-up barbershop. This is my preference out of the two, and while expensive, I have seen Penhaligon showing up more and more at discounters, and I actually got this bottle directly from Penhaligon's because they were running a sale where they were selling this unboxed, and I only paid $95 for it. So definitely keep your eye out for this one for a sale, because this is also probably my second favorite here to recommend after Chergui for if you can get it for that price. So okay, thank you again for sticking with me to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this, maybe check out one of my other videos. And I really appreciate you sticking with me to the end of it. Let me know if there's any other honey fragrances I should try, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.